All right, I'm going to show you how to write a VSL in about 15 minutes that is able to generate tens of thousands of dollars if you've got a good product. Keep in mind, you've got to have a good product in order to write copy that's going to perform well. But this is going to show you the key components to actually write a VSL that's going to hook your audience's attention, show them the value of your product, and get them to book a call or, whatever the action step that you're promoting. It might be buy now. And this is based on actual proof. Like, I have generated $3 million for my school clients. I've helped 5 or 6 communities now win the school games. I've personally won the school games, hung out with Alex Hormozi at 6 of the different school game events. And yeah, it's based on stuff that actually works, because there's dozens, hundreds, probably thousands of people on school trying to teach school just because they've been on that platform and they haven't even made 10K themselves. So I'm like really not a fan of that stuff. So I'm only going to teach you guys what I have actually generated tens of thousands of dollars with, and none of the stuff that I haven't, because I think there's already way too much noise on school, and this is just what works. This is just what I've used, and I'm not going to teach anything else. So let's get into it. And basically, the VSL is the video that you can put on your sales page, your school about page, you can put it in your ads, and this is the video that's going to convince your prospects to book a call. So this is exclusively for high ticket offers. And so I'm just going to use my offer as an example. And whether you are a school community owner, you can just copy this. Or if you are a copywriter writing for a school community owner, hopefully you can just copy this as well. So I thought this would be a great example. And I'll just go through the copy here. I want to sign high ticket clients with copy that actually sells on school. So obviously this is a school specific offer. After working at School HQ, generating $3 million for my clients and making $50K a month in my own agency, I'm finally bringing a few people behind the scenes. Okay. So this is what we'll use in the VSL as proof. What do you get? So now this is kind of like deliverable stacks: weekly client mastermind, live copy review, exclusive copywriting templates, and the masterclass. So yeah, that's pretty cool. So just going through the graphics, obviously this will replace this. And I am actually, by the way, guys, filming a new VSL for this. So this is kind of cool. I didn't even think of that, but I can literally just use the script. So that's sick, right? Okay, we've got enough information about the product. So what you would want to do is just copy this. And that's going to help you really answer the questions that I'm going to show you over on my little FigJam slide that you're going to need to fill in these things. There's 3 things you need to know for your VSL. What is the offer promise? What is the proof/story that you're going to be telling? And then what are the actual deliverables? Why is it not showing that whole thing? But the actual process or deliverables to get the client that result, right? Also spelled school wrong, and that's just like OCD that's bothering me. Anyways, right? So we're going to go through and I'll explain sort of how I gathered all these things really quickly, and then we'll take them and put them into the VSL. And I've got like a little handy dandy Google Doc that we'll do that with. But the offer promise: learn the 1% of copywriting skill set. That's kind of what I talked about with the masterclass, master hooks, write faster, find clients without outreach, build MRR, right? Build MRR applies to both copywriters and school community owners. So that community, you can probably tell, has 2 avatars, which isn't always ideal, but it turns out a lot of people want to learn copy just for their own business. And so that's kind of why I did that, just because people were asking for it. And then I'm going to go through my story in this VSL. So I have to figure out kind of what components to keep of this, but like, there's a lot of different things I could use as proof, right? Like, I went from a college dropout, had no idea what I was going to do with my life. So thought I would, maybe go to law school, but then I wound up dropping out of college. And then I just got so fed up. I worked a 9 to 5. This is when I was working as a waitress. I quit my job, signed some clients with 0 cold outreach, hit 10K in 30 days. And then that got me invited to LA, where I worked at School HQ for 6 months, just kind of co-working, not actually working for school. But then I won the school games with my community, and all the people that I had met by working at school and on the school platform and through the events and through the school games became clients. So I got to work with some of the biggest businesses on school, and then I've got all the revenue next to those businesses, and then helped people win the school games. So this is like Atina. She's one of the people I helped win the school games, and she did crazy numbers. She went from 29,000 to like 320 something thousand, which is insane. Anyways, so yeah, helped 6 communities win the games. And now the offer deliverables, I basically just took this from inside the community. I was like, what do I actually do in here? And when you're thinking of offer deliverables, this is not the part that you're emphasizing in a VSL. This is basically just going to be like a couple sentences. You're not going to list out everything that's inside the course or inside the offer, because you're basically just giving people you're giving them chances to have an objection. So like, if I list everything out and they're like, oh, well, I can't make XYZ call, or I can't use this template, or I don't need it, or whatever, all of a sudden the value of that offer goes down. So if you're pitching an offer, or you're selling something for your client, or you're writing your own VSL, you want to just basically paint the picture instead of selling the process. So the picture is sign clients, generate high ticket MRR, have a consistent growing business online, and have freedom, income flexibility, work remote. That's the end goal, right? That's the destination. We're not selling them the flight to get to that destination. So yeah, this is all just good to know. I always like to list it out, but I do not ever list it out in the VSL. Okay. What I might do is like mention, you'll get like the plug and play templates, all the information you need to plug them in, access to my systems, and then help actually implementing it with direct access to myself. So I basically, in an overview way, listed what they get, but without being too specific that they could come up with objections. All right, because we're going to put them on a call, and then we're going to figure out what those objections are and handle it live on the call. And you're much more likely to get like more sales and more calls booked if you're not going to go and give them like 20 different things that they could object to potentially. So anyways, okay, let's go back to the promise. And this is what we're going to start writing about here. So I like to start a VSL with like a very clear expectation of what they're going to get in this video. Because if you think about it, people's like attention spans are so short. They're not just thinking about, when they click your video, they're not just thinking about the offer. They're actually just thinking about like the next 5 minutes of their time. So I like to actually start with that. In the next, my VSLs are very short, so it's 5 minutes. I'm going to show you how I went from dropping out of college, quitting my waitressing job, to signing 10K worth of clients in 30 days. And for you now I'm going to do a little like, I want to enforce the credibility, but I want to do it in a humorous way because that's just like how I speak. So basically this is the part where you're going to show proof. So I'm just going to write this like, this is expectations / promise, which could be, arguably the same thing in this context. So we'll put that in bold. Now, this is proof. Some of this is proof as well, right? But we're really more focused on the promise there. Proof okay, so now we're going to talk about these overachievers that want to scale your business beyond 10K. I hit my first 50K month. Wait, no, let's start. I hit my first 30K month last August, just 3 months in, and my first 50K month the following January. Oh, okay. And signing 10. Let's say something about, let's like remove a pain point up here without any cold outreach. Okay, this is really important because like if you're selling any type of offer, you're probably part of your promise. You may not even realize it, but it's removing a painful process. So I have a great example of this, a fitness coach that I do some copywriting for. She helps like older women, moms, lose weight without extreme diets. That's her kind of without statement. And so the promise is lose weight, but the thing that makes it really appealing is without extreme diets. So she's not telling them like, oh, you've got to go keto or you've got to give up your favorite foods, and she doesn't even have them go to the gym. So she's evil, oh my God, evil. She's even taking that out. So you want to think about not just what does your promise add, but what does it actually take away as well. And that's where Mozi's like value equation. If you guys don't know that, it's like the value of the product is like the promise, how likely it is to achieve. And then like on the bottom half of that line is like, how little is the pain to get there, and then what's the other time? How little is the time to get there? So anyways, that is already mentioned here. So I mentioned time in 30 days without any cold outreach, remove the pain point, sign 10K. That's pretty big for a lot of people. So let's go into story. So when I first quit my job, I tried multiple different businesses throughout, between 19 and 20. Nothing worked. Oh, let's list them out. Let's list out what I tried. So you guys might not even know this, but I tried drop shipping. I tried SMMA. not even technically because I never really like signed a client, but I did pitch it to like all the networking groups I was going to. And what's like one other, I guess social media would be like one because I was trying to go viral with my initial podcast. Okay, social media, nothing worked. And honestly, I felt like the whole business world was kind of a scam. But I figured some people knew how to do it right. And if I could just get closer to them, I'd learn it eventually. I went to every... we want to be more visual with this story, so I remember driving hours and hours. I actually did this, by the way, to like seminars and networking events, just trying to find an entrepreneur that would take me under their wing. Then COVID hit. When everything went online, I took it as an opportunity. I gave my 2 weeks notice without any clue how I'd make money. My mom told me something that changed the way I looked at this. Okay, actually I'm gonna like move the order of this because I feel like sequentially it would make more sense considering my mom told me this before I quit my job. Now she's not an entrepreneur and she's not exactly someone I'd consider a big risk taker. But she said, okay, let's correct that grammar there. She's not an entrepreneur. She's not exactly someone I'd consider a big risk taker, but she said, Patrice, when are you ever going to be in a better... Now, I realize we've left some gaps in this story. We're actually talking about how I quit my job here. Like, actually, this is when I dropped out of college. I got a 9 to 5. Okay, so you just want to like tell the story of your creator or tell your own story here and like relate to your audience's pain points. So I'm doing that by, kind of talking about how everything felt like a scam. Tried all these things, nothing worked. I'm putting myself in these scenarios. I didn't know anyone. Didn't know any successful entrepreneurs. Now, you guys can skip ahead if you want to just see the end result of this VSL, but I'm going to write it live because I feel like a lot of people online don't actually write the stuff live, and I always look for that because it's so valuable to just see how, like, they formulate the thoughts and go back and fix it and edit it. So if you guys want, you just skip ahead like 5 minutes or something. I'll be pretty much done with this, but when everything went online, I took it as an opportunity. I gave my 2 weeks notice without any clue how I'd make money, and it's on all caps. My mom told me, I didn't even finish that. No, she's not even a big risk taker. When are you gonna have a better chance or less risk than now? I was 22. Oh wait, no, I was 21. And I realized she was right. Okay, just took a quick break for coffee, but all right. So at 21, I realized she was right, period. Everything went online. And honestly, okay. And 1 week later, poor Mosey announced he was investing into school. I ran downstairs, told my mom this was it. She laughed and was like, all right, buddy. I don't think she would call me buddy, but all right, Patrice. I took it seriously though. And launched about 3 unprofitable communities in 3 months. I lost money, but learned a lot. And I invested into a mastermind where the coach needed a copywriter. I volunteered, mostly because he asked me to. But anyways, that's how I made my first 2K, which all went right back in to more masterminds. Throughout the next few months, I decided to test out copywriting. Not even sure it could make me more than 3 or maybe 4K a month. But come June, I really wanted to move out, and so I went and invested. I went and bought a plane ticket with money I didn't really have. I wanted to this is getting quite long, so just wait, guys. There's a step that I'm going to do to kind of like make it a little more concrete and read through it and make it like the right amount of words and just cover any gaps. But you got to brain dump first. That's the process here. So self-induced panic. And it worked. I failed in so many different ways of getting clients. I stopped caring. I went nuts with warm outreach, events, and developed what I still consider the strongest client acquisition strategy. That June, after losing money for months, I hit 10K. And that got me an invite to some more events, and I managed to get a school games winner as a client. Over the next 3 months, I scaled to 30K per month and went to 6 masterminds with Homoli. That fall and winter, I helped 4 more communities win the games and generated millions for my clients. But my business... Okay, now we're going to talk about one final pain point that's going to lead us to the CTA. Or it's going to lead us basically to the offer. Was a mess. I was working 14 to 16 hours a day, doing most of the delivery, and when I wasn't writing, I was managing a team of people. It was pure chaos. And I started to hate my business, despite hitting 50K per month. Okay. What was I? Oh, this is supposed to be writing. Okay. So what did I do? Well, for better or for worse, I fired everyone. No, I think this is just like for better. I mean, that's part of the solution. I fired everyone, hired an AI wizard to come into my business and fixed the bottlenecks. Next, I created epic templates for all my top performing clients, and I productized my work so I could sell it on repeat. That just means I did less custom stuff and more set pricing, and it worked. Now I travel the world. For example, I'm currently in the UK, about to take a trip to the Welsh coast, and then next month I'll be in New York, then LA, and a week later I'll touch down in Miami, because my business runs without me in it 24/7. I'm not going to pitch you here, if that's what you're thinking. Okay, so here we're going to do some objection handling. We're actually just going to really emphasize like the value of the product. I'm not looking to sell this system or coach just anyone, but I am looking for 5 highly skilled copywriters looking to build a business that actually scales and build systems around your current clients and the future clients. Okay, so now I'm like nailing in who my avatar is. Because signing your dream clients is easier than you think. I've worked with some of the biggest communities and info products on Skool. And trust me, I'm not special. I just have a system, and it took 18 months to develop. If you think you might be a good that and want me to take a look under the hood at your business. Book a call below, and I'll see you on a Zoom. Either way, crystallize your goals. I remember feeling stupid when I put a poster on the wall last summer that said, okay, so now we're just leaving them with some goodwill. I make $50K. This is so funny. I actually did this. I put a poster on the wall that said I make $50K a month, and I thought it was ridiculous. And 5 months later, I made $50K in a month. So, be outrageously ambitious. So, okay, I'm just gonna end it on that. Now, this is like the part where I really want to like make sure I've got all the right proof elements. So I'm gonna go and actually grab an outline that I use. Okay, so this is a VSL template that I created after writing a VSL for Max Pearson, who's one of my biggest clients. And so I'm just gonna copy it and I'm going to put it in AI. And basically, I'm just gonna ask it, and I've already set this up in one of my little Claude chats that I've trained, and I'm gonna be like, I just wrote a VSL off the cuff, and now want to see if there's anything else that I should add or anything I can remove that doesn't reinforce motivation to book a call. Review the VSL outline I'm attaching as well for reference of a good VSL structure, along with the principles. Well, it's not how you spell principles. You know about how Frank Kern sells. So this is a chat bot where I basically, oh crap, I didn't give it the VSL outline. But this is a chatbot that I trained on like Frank Kern's VSL, or not VSL, but rather webinar framework. So I think it'll work pretty interestingly here. Let's see. Strong personal stories, specific numbers, relatable struggles, missing elements from template. Strong opening hook. Your current, oh, okay, interesting. Without any cold outreach, but you don't deliver on this promise clearly enough. You mention warm outreach and events, but you don't explain the system. Okay, noted. Industry problem setup. You jump straight to personal story. The template includes identifying industry problems. Okay, that's a good point, actually. I think I can incorporate that more. So let's start. Let's go here. Problem. Now, if you're anything like me, this is a good hook, by the way, for just general copywriting. You've seen dozens of gurus out there telling you how to make 10K without doing any work, or use AI to write your copy for you. And if that's no, and you probably no, okay. This is for people who want to build a real business that generates a lot more than 10K a month in a year from now. Okay, so common enemy, gurus. Avatar clarified. One core skill. You mentioned developing the strongest client acquisition strategy, but don't clearly articulate what that core. That's kind of the point, though. So I don't know if Claude here is like dissecting this as like a proper VSL. True. More client success stories. So that's a great point. I didn't include any of that. Okay, so this is why we run it through a template, but okay. Okay. So I started testing this system for some of the people I work with. Tio, for example, used some of my email techniques with warm leads and got over 10 calls booked in a matter of hours. Or Maya, for example, who was making less than 2K a month when I met her, and got to 7K a month with my systems. Or Maya. She was 19, from Ukraine. Not to mention, she was also full-time in college, and yet still. But the really cool ones are people like Maureen, who was working full-time and wanted to have more time with her daughter. We implemented some simple client acquisition strategies with her, with warm connections she didn't even realize she had, and boom. 3 weeks later, she'd signed 24K worth of deals, and they were all retainer contracts, which means she makes that every single month. Cool. I'm not going to pitch you. Okay, so that's perfect. So we just named three case studies there. I think that's probably the biggest thing I'll take from this, because I think it's really applying a lot of the webinar stuff. Problem solution. Okay, objection handling. Yeah, I'm not going to really do that too much, because I think I do a bit of objection handling. Oh, good point. Right, I didn't even say why I do 5. So I'm looking for 5. Okay, so my main thing is still running my copywriting agency and making really awesome connections through that network of done-for-you clients. But, okay, so I couldn't possibly go all in as some copywriting coach. That's why I'm looking for just 5 people to build their business like I did in an intimate setting using all my templates. We'll build systems around your current clients and the future clients you want to sign, because signing your dream clients is easier than anything. Cool. Okay, boom. Like, that's the VSL process, okay? So, like, hopefully that simplified things for you guys. I know it's a little longer than I intended. I think I said this is going to be 15 minutes, but at the end of the day, it's always going to take a little bit longer when you go through that, like, editing process. So I want to show you guys the whole thing live, because I think that's way more valuable. But hopefully that helped you crystallize what it is that you need to find before putting together the pieces and writing that VSL. I'm going to go now. I'm going to the gym. But if you guys want more help writing your own VSL or signing clients, book a call below and I will see how I can help you. And in the meantime, hopefully some of these tips and tricks help you actually write some good quality VSLs for your clients. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Have a good one.